What up, everyone? Welcome back to Blade Bias. My final little message from the present before we return to the past and you guys go back into the depths of the backlog. As you can see right here, the wonderful Ted Flips has again left his mark on my collection. Because if there's one thing that Ted enjoys more than flipping ballad songs, it's seeing other people flip his ballad songs. So Ted sent out these. This is the Squiggle Scales Kraken Titanium Rehandle. And if you didn't know they exist, I really don't know how, because these things are one of the most sought after Kraken mods that I have seen. Just posting these on my story got me a few people who messaged me and been like, dude, I've been looking for those everywhere. How do you like them? Like, I've been wanting to get them for a long time. And I just want to make it very clear before we get into this video. You guys will understand why in a second. Blade Bias is not reviews, and I need to make a video addressing this. Like, just fully explaining this. Blade Bias isn't a review. It's in the name. We're biased about blades. So this is my own personal opinion. And if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I respect you. You respect me. Okay, deal? Let's go. I don't like them. And there's a few reasons why. I'm going to start off just by kind of talking about the, like, more objective facts of the Kraken rehandle. It makes the Kraken heavier. It makes the Kraken a bit more handle biased. And the machining on it isn't the greatest. Like, the overall comfort of it is good. It feels fine. But especially in these longer ovals right here, it's just very sharp and uncomfortable. And when you're replacing something like a Kraken handle, which is kind of like one of the most comfortable handles out there, subjectively, but like, I think a lot of people would agree that the Kraken is just a very comfortable ballad song. And when you're replacing those, I feel like anything that you do that is less comfortable is going to stick out like a sore thumb. And it really does. I wouldn't say it's bad by any means. Like, if this was just its own standalone ballad song, it would be fine. But when you compare it to the Kraken, it really stands out. And that's ultimately what my biggest problem with these rehandles are. But let's start with the flipping. Like, the flipping, it's a good flipper. I think it's a genuinely interesting, fun flipper. It's a bit more of like a standard old titanium design. It's a bit heavier. I would describe it as kind of handle biased. Certainly more weight in the handles than a standard Kraken, especially a standard Tonto Kraken. And a really annoying ring. The ring is like a buzz almost. It rings, and then if it rings too much, it buzzes like a tuning fork. And you can kind of feel it vibrate, and you can hear it in the sound. And I just really don't like it. I don't think it sounds that great when it buzzes. When it just normally rings, it sounds fine. But when it buzzes like that, it just doesn't sound the best. But flipping wise, I think it's genuinely good. Like, if this was a vacuum and this was its own design, I think I would be like, I would feel about it the same way that I felt about the Prime and the Kraken Trainer V3. I'd be like, this is a good flipper. I like it, but I just wouldn't spend the money on it. But my ultimate problem comes with the fact that I kind of hinted at earlier, that when you compare it to a Kraken, I don't know if you're getting an upgrade here. Yes, you have the objective upgrade of making a Kraken out of titanium, so it's going to be more durable. Maybe you like the design better. That's a bit more subjective, but that's fair. But my problem just comes with the fact that you have something like the Kraken, which is widely regarded as one of the best ballad songs currently on the market. Like, I don't think it's a hot take to say that most people are aware of, own, or like a Kraken. It's incredibly popular. It's a really good price to performance. It flips well, and it releases enough that enough people can buy them. So I feel like if you're going to target any ballad song to make an aftermarket mod for, why would you target one of the most enjoyed ballad songs in the hobby? Rather than going like the Flytanium route and modding knives that maybe people don't like as much, like the Lucha. I think there's a flaw to thinking that you can make the Kraken better. Because I genuinely believe the only people that are going to make the Kraken better is Squid. And they proved that with the Weehawk Kraken. But the reason that's so different is because the Weehawk Kraken, in all likelihood, I don't know this for a fact, but in all likelihood is going to be the same price as a normal Kraken would be. So we're not going to pay any more for that upgrade that Squid made. And yes, I think the Weehawk Kraken, despite its looks, is an upgrade in the flipping. Whereas these retail for about $250. So let's go down the route that you buy a new Kraken and you want to build with these handles. You buy these handles for $250, you buy a new Kraken for $250. That's $500. You're $50 off of a Seraph, and you're $85 more than a Slift. I don't know. I have kind of Kuno thoughts about that. Like, the Kuno's great. I really like the Kuno. Would I have paid whatever the MSRP for the Kuno ends up being? I don't know. Would I pay $500 for this? Actually, I think I can answer that. Probably not. This is not a Balisong I'd pay $500 for. Now, let's be a little more fair. I'm sure someone has already typed in the comments before I say this. But what if you, you aren't being fair? What if you buy the handles and then you buy a Kraken blade? Okay, what? You buy a Kraken blade for $120? Is that a fair price? I don't know. So you're still looking at $250 plus $120. It's about $370. About the price of a Damascus Kraken. No, the Damascus Kraken, I mean, sure, that is a really good argument to bring up. But the Damascus Kraken is a aesthetic upgrade that is genuinely rare and genuinely sought after, which I guess you could make the argument that this is too, but I'm still getting the flipping experience of a Kraken. Sure, I was overcharged. I paid $100 more than I normally would, but that was worth it to me. Whereas these, to me, aren't, you know? And maybe there are going to be... I totally accept that there are people out there that want this. They want a titanium version of the Kraken. That's great. I'm so happy that this exists for you. Go buy one as soon as possible. I'm sure you will love it. It's not a bad flipper at all. It does make the Kraken heavier and a bit more sluggish, which I think I mentioned earlier, but I actually don't know, so I'm going to bring it up again. It just kind of makes the Kraken, which is like an agile, fast, responsive flipper, into a heavier, more sluggish flipper that requires a bit... It's kind of like a Madco. Like, the Madco's a bit heavy. It's kind of sluggish. People still like it, but I think most people who enjoy a Kraken aren't looking for that kind of experience, you know? But anyway, let's get back on track. I totally accept there's going to be people that like this. I totally accept there's going to be people that want this. I'm just not one of those people. Especially because I mentioned earlier, I think making a rehandle for the Kraken is just an inherently flawed idea because you're going after a Balisong that most people really love. I know Block's Toys did it earlier this month when they released a Kraken rehandle. And I tried those at Blade Show and I felt the same way about them. I was like, this flips fine. Like, this flips good and all. But would I take apart a Kraken to get this experience? No, not a chance, you know? And that's kind of how I feel with this. Not only am I spending $250 on this, but I am also taking apart a Kraken. I'm giving up a Kraken experience for this experience. And that's not a trade that I think personally is worth it. It will be to some people. Again, I know there's going to be people in comments coming after me. Oh, but like, it's just your personal opinion. Yeah, that is literally what I'm saying. This is just my personal opinion. But yeah, I just kind of see this as paying money to downgrade the experience of your Kraken. Or at the very least, make it the same. It flips. It's a flipping experience that I enjoy about as much as the normal Kraken. I think at the very least, that's what I would say about it. So yeah, it's cool. I basically flipped it. I'll be completely honest. I flipped it for like 2 hours when I got it in, and I'm flipping it now. And that's probably all the time it's going to get out of me. I'll probably send this thing out immediately because, like, I'm just not interested in it. I'd rather get it into someone else's hands who is so they can properly cover it. But it brings up an interesting point. I don't think the Kraken needs to be modded. And if you do, fair play. Fair play, that's fair to you. But I think there is merit, even above just the subjective nature of this. There is merit to saying, hey, the Kraken is loved by so many. Why would you put the resources into changing it? You know? So yeah, It's a good flipper. I do like enjoy how it flips, but it's kind of the same that I feel about like the Prime and the Kraken trainer. I wouldn't spend the money on it, especially wouldn't take apart a Kraken to make it. If there's someone out there that does, sure, go for it. If you want a more like this, I feel like would be right up like Den Den's alley. He's an older Balisong flipper who prefers titanium designs and probably an older style of flipping, a bit more handle bias, a bit more weight. And this gives the Kraken that. This makes the Kraken, I believe, a slight bit heavier. At least it feels heavier to me. And it definitely makes it a little more handle biased. Or at the very least, there's more weight in the ends of the handles. It's a weird sound. Than there is in the tip. So I could totally understand someone thinking, hey, I don't really enjoy the Kraken because it's aluminum or for this and that, and then getting these and then genuinely enjoying it. I think that would be great. But yeah. Also, I should have said this earlier. Why didn't I say this earlier in the video? I'm going to get so many comments of people who didn't watch this far. If you see someone who comments this, please just reply the timestamp of right now, because I genuinely can't be bothered to answer this question 5,000 times. No, I will not put the Damascus blade on these handles. Ted already told me the horror story of putting this thing together. It's a sandwich design, so it should be easy. But apparently it involved a mallet or a hammer of some sort, which is like, wow, that's crazy. So I guess that I'd put another point against this for that, but I'm not going to take it apart. It's not mine. I'm not putting the Damascus blade on it. End of story. Don't ask. Don't even joke about asking, because I'm so sick of people telling me what to do with my Damascus Kraken. It's becoming my #1 pet peeve of people being, you should do this to Damascus, you should do, and just not respecting the fact that I like it the way it is. I think the matte handles are perfectly fine and serve to accentuate the design of the blade and draw your attention to it. Anyway, small rant over. The Squiggle Scales Kraken handles are fine. They're good. They flip good. I'm sure if you are looking for something like this, you will enjoy them. But I think there is a big flaw in thinking that you can improve the Kraken unless you are Squid themselves. Because when Squid improves the Kraken, it's not really a cost to the consumer. When an aftermarket modder improves the Kraken, it's a pretty large cost to the consumer. And again, you're giving up a Kraken for this, which I wouldn't particularly say is worth it. But anyway, I think I'm just beating a dead horse at this point. Thank you all for watching. Thank you again to Ted for sending this out. I really do appreciate getting the chance to try this out, even if it wasn't my favorite thing ever. Thank you, dude. I don't know why you don't just enjoy your collection and you insist on sending it out to other people to enjoy, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I think you're pretty generous and chill dude to be sending out your knives to so many different people when you're probably not going to see them for months. So yeah, that's my time with the Squiggle Scale Titanium Rehandle. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.